This is Johnny with Tiger Bomb MMA, and tonight I'm going over UFC Fight Night Sandhagen versus Font, taking place at Catchweight, taking place in Nashville, Tennessee. I just got back from my vacation after going to Salt Lake City. Didn't end up going to the actual fights at 291, but I went to the theater next to the Delta Center or whatever the fuck it's called. Good enough for me. It was fun. Good overall time in Salt Lake. Really clean, really hot, very pretty. But I'm going to go over the entire fight card. It's going to be relatively quick. I didn't do a whole ton of research on it. Just haven't really had a whole ton of time. So by the next card, I should have plenty of time to actually, watch a ton of tape like I normally do. Even though I didn't watch a whole ton of tape on UFC 290-01, I did pretty well overall. I ended up breaking even though I immediately lost my parlay, the one that if you were listening to the video last week, kind of knew it was going to fail because I knew, oh my God, this is too much chalk. I shouldn't have done this. So ended up recovering quite nicely. I'll go over that. I'll go over my brief kind of thoughts on that card, the UFC 291. But yeah, I'm excited about this card. I think there's a good chance of making some money on this card, especially if you pick your spots. But I'm going to go over UFC 291 over really quickly, give you my thoughts on it. Miranda Maverick defeats Vasily Cachoeira. I took a little bit of shot on Cachoeira, like really tiny. Didn't pan out. She didn't do exactly what I needed her to do, which was pressure Miranda Maverick, and Miranda took over. Simple as that. Miranda was talking mad shit. All right, the fight that ruined my night immediately was Matthew Semmelsberger versus Earl's Medic. Like I knew, I'm like, I fucked up. I should not have bet Semmelsberger. So I kind of hope for the best. So when Semmelsberger knocks him down, I'm like, oh yeah, we win. But then Earl's Medic, it is what it is. Like, do I agree with the stoppage? Not particularly, but I'm not salty about it. It is what it is. Earl survived and he provided that goofiness on the feet, which caught Semmelsberger. Can't be salty about it. Darius Flower, he gets submitted by Jake Matthews. I thought that was a funny fight. Like Darius looked okay, but I guess he's moving down to 155, so good for him. And Jake, I think he just did what he was supposed to do. So props to him. Roman Kopylov defeats Claudio Ribeiro. You know, I should have bet Kopylov. I actually did bet him live, but I should have bet him on my parlay. The issue with Roman Kopylov was that I worried that, Claudio would do what he did at the end of the round, which was blitz him and possibly hurt him. And then as I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen Romanov truly, truly hurt. So I'm like, I think he'll be fine. And then the whole time I'm like nudging my girlfriend. I'm like, he's going to set up a left high kick. And I'm just like nudging her. I'm like, watch this. He's kicking the body. He's going to go high soon. And then he kicks him high and he knocks him out. I'm just like, I told you. So I felt like the smartiest pants in the room, to the point because I'm in a bar. The douchebag in me wants to be like, I told her. I don't know why. I was just like, I'm an asshole. CJ Vergara defeats Vinicius Salvador. They turned off the volume during that fight. So I was like, all right, fuck this. We're going to go. But to me, it looked like a horrible fight. Like CJ didn't really look like he wanted to win. Vinicius looked like he wanted to win the first round, and that was it. And then it went to a decision. I guess CJ won. I got nothing to really say there. Like, I wasn't really paying attention. It was really boring. I guess CJ did enough. Bonfim did exactly what Bonfim wanted to do. Simple as that. Holland defeats Chiesa. I took a shot on Chiesa. I actually picked Chiesa. I'm like, yeah, there's a chance he could win. And then the more I thought about it, and I'm like, maybe taking Holland by sub would be the better prop, because like I kept thinking to myself, like, Chiesa loves getting choked. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. I don't blame the man, especially when it's a minority choking him. He seemed to enjoy that. But yeah, Holland did what Holland did. Chiesa, I guess he's going to retire. I still think Chiesa has enough in the tank, but he just looks so awkward in there. Like literally, the layoff took a toll on him. Like he looks so like desperate, and that's what kind of caused Holland to take over. There was a brief moment where he almost had Holland down, and that could have potentially led to him winning a round, maybe doing the same after he tires out Holland a bit. But yeah, Holland showed very good takedown defense, and I guess he wants to move back to 185. So I don't advise that. I think he's looking good at 170, but it is what it is. Bobby Green defeats Tony Ferguson. I thought that was I hate to laugh because like he got submitted. Like he got he got submitted. And it's crazy to think that Charles Oliveira couldn't submit him. Benito Dariush couldn't submit him. but Nick Diaz and Bobby Green submit him. I get Diaz to an extent, but Bobby Green submitting him, like, I know Bobby's good, but that to me is just like, Tony, please just stop doing this to yourself. Derek Lewis defeats Marcos Rogero de Lima. So I bet Derek. I bet Derek at money line, and I bet Derek at knockout. And then he made it look so. Like, I was telling my girlfriend next to me while I was watching like the preview and all the crap. I'm like, I just want to see him one more time, knock a motherfucker out, and then like do that. Like, he gets on the ground, he pops his chest and shit, and then he does like the howl just one more time. We not only got that, we got him taking his pants off, doing the DX suck it. The man's got absolutely great comedic timing, because he's like, my dick. Well, I'm like, you don't have to say it, Derek. We know. I was happy with that. Alex Pereira defeats John Blachowicz. Alex won 100%. It shouldn't have been a split. Like I keep saying, like John Blachowicz was like, oh, I got robbed. And there's a debate about John Blachowicz winning round number 3. It was round number 1, 100% John. If you want to give it a 10-8, go be an asshole and give it a 10-8, whatever. Round number 2, Pereira. Round number 3, Pereira landed the better shots. John, yes, he was landing some good shots here and there, but nothing devastating. The harder strikes were the leg kicks, and Pereira was just stalking him and outpointing him, essentially. He wasn't able to knock him out, and then 40 seconds to go, John gets a takedown, and all he does is sweat on him. Unless John's sweat is made out of corrosive acid, that ain't causing any damage, and breathing on him isn't really doing anything. So, yeah, Alex won that one. Alex got up. Alex raised his hands. John sat down and acted like he lost. So what are you going to do? Fuck that. And then Justin Gaethje defeats Dustin Poirier. I was happy with Justin winning 100%. I was not happy with the fact that I bet the over 1.5, thinking I was super safe. I'm like, I got this, no problem. Like minus 250 for over 1.5, simple, easy money. Justin throws a fucking head kick he's never thrown and knocks out Justin Gaethje, who had his hand up. So in an overall cosmic way, I was very happy with how it played out, even though I lost some money. So overall broke even, didn't lose any money. Maybe made a couple, like literally like $2 or something. But let's get started with the Font versus Sandhagen card. Let's take a look. I'll be really quick with these. So if you're looking for like an extensive breakdown, it ain't gonna happen this week, but it'll happen next week, I promise. Ode Osbourne versus Asu Almabaev. So I watched a bit of Almabaev, right, just to see what can he bring to the table. And he's a very mixed bag kind of guy. Like he seems to have good grappling, but he's not very dominant. Like he's not presenting any sort of threat to me when he gets guys down. And for me, it's a very tough fight because Ode, he's very explosive. I'm going to be very complimentary to most of these fighters, but Ode's got good striking. He's fast, good jiu-jitsu. He gets tired, though. I worry about him getting tired, and he makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes. I always bring that up because it's like you see the package, dick joke. You see his presentation, and you're like, it's good, right? He's got all these positive things, but then he decides, I'm going to jump straight up in the air with my chin up and then land down right in front of a guy, not holding my hands up, and then get blasted in the face, which to me, that always puts me at like let's not bet this guy. But I do think he's live here at plus 125, which, before I forget, odds are plus 125. Ode, Almabaev minus 150. Almabaev has a very good chance to win this one by relentlessly grappling and getting Ode tired. If Ode comes in here like prepared, and I don't mean like prepared in the way that he's normally been prepared. He has to be prepared here to get out grappled for the first few rounds and then getting back up on the feet. I think he's going to have a lot of success. Almabaev, he's okay. He occasionally throws a spinning back kick, but he's primarily a wrestler. And I've not really been too impressed by him. I think he's going to be undersized here, even though it's flyweight. I'll go with Ode Osbourne on this one. I think he can actually win a decision or possibly get a finish in this particular fight. I'll go Ode by decision. I might take a shot on him money line, depending on if the Dodgers not only win tonight, but I need Freddie and Mookie to get a hit. Last time I bet near perfect, but I hit like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people on the hit parlay, and then Max Muncy didn't get a hit 2 nights in a row, and it screwed me. So anyways, next bout, short notice bout, featherweight, Sean Woodson versus Dennis Bazukja. What are the odds on this one? Minus 176 for Woodson. Come back on Bazukja, like plus 150. I don't like Bazukja in this spot. I think he's just going to lose. I think he's going to lose a decision. I'm going to go Woodson by decision. I think Woodson, when he's on and he's intelligent, He can outpoint a lot of guys, uses superior boxing. He's going to have the long reach advantage, 79 compared to the 70.5 for Dennis the Great Bazooka. I don't like that nickname. That's annoying. But yeah, we saw what happened with Sean in his last fight. He essentially got knocked out versus Saldana. And after that, he nearly ruined a ton of people's parlays because he showed greatness on the feet. And yeah, like he's not going to get submitted. That's the biggest issue. He might get submitted. That wasn't an issue with Saldana. Saldana knocks him out with like a jab. Then he luckily knees him in the face when he was down. So he saved a lot of people's parlays. So Sean's not a guy I would really want to go out here and bet. Can Dennis land on him? Potentially. I just don't see Dennis, I hate to say it, as UFC caliber. Like I'm a big supporter of Jay Perrin. I like Jay Perrin. Seems like a cool guy. But Dennis Bazooka reminds me a lot of Jay Perrin. Like he's solid everywhere, but he's kind of like, he doesn't overpower guys in any particular facet. Like he's got okay wrestling, he's got okay jiu-jitsu, he's got okay striking, but he's not a real threat anywhere. Sean Woodson is a threat on the feet, and he's got some pretty damn good takedown defense. So I think Sean, being the better striker, period, I think he's going to be able to stuff takedowns and just kind of pick them apart. Might lead to a knockout, but honestly, Bazooka's a pretty tough dude. And I just see Woodson outpointing him, so I'll stay away from it, but I'll go Woodson by decision. Next bout, lots of opinions on this one. Jake Hadley versus Cody Durden. Jake is minus 180, come back on Durden is plus 150. So Durden at plus money has been money lately. He's been just beating dudes that I personally didn't think he was able to beat. Like, for example, I thought he was going to lose to Charles Johnson. I did think he was going to win rounds or possibly round against Johnson, but I thought eventually he's going to get finished. Didn't happen. He ended up cashing. Carlos Mota, I thought, eventually Carlos is going to get to him. Didn't happen. And who else? JP Buys. JP Buys. It is what it is with JP Buys. I didn't actually think he had. I took JP. I'm like, yeah, I think eventually, but Cody just went out there and did what he had to do. But in this fight against Jake Hadley, like Jake is 10-1. His only loss was to the Skeleton Man, Buroso. Why can't I think of his name? Why don't I just check it, idiot? Alan Nascimento. Nascimento's a very good fighter. So to lose to Nascimento, it doesn't really put a whole ton of negative stock with me. So for him being 10-1, he's only 27 still. He's still growing in the sense of like he's maturing as a fighter, because when these young fighters come in here undefeated and they just run through guys, they expect that to happen no matter what. They've never really been put in adversity. Yeah, they've never been in an adversity in a point where it's like, oh crap, I'm losing. Let me continuously try to get a submission from bottom. I feel as if Jake Hadley learned a lot from that loss. And Cody as well. I think Cody's been leveling up. I like both of these guys. I like Cody a lot. I really do. I like the way he fights. I like how, as of late, his jiu-jitsu's been like leveling up. And I'm like, damn, Cody's getting really fucking good. But to me, though, it seems as if this is a really good live betting opportunity for Jake Hadley. I do believe Jake is going to get taken down. His takedown defense was a bit questionable against Nascimento. Not to say that like it hasn't improved, but I do think that Jake is going to lose round or rounds to Cody Durden. But the issue with Cody is that because he's so like relentless, sometimes he gets tired. And the type of striking I saw from Jake Hadley in his last fight, I know it was Malcolm Gordon, but the Jesus, those body shots, right? And Cody's gas tank is very questionable. And the issue that I had with the Johnson fight was that, like, I even joked with Johnson. I tweeted, not at him, but I made a very beautiful joke where it was like, set up, punchline. He didn't seem to get it. The joke was, after seeing Charles Johnson get tired against Ode Osbourne, I wonder which version of him we will see in the cage next against Cody Durden. Energy or lethargy? Ha ha ha. He didn't like that. So I'm like, all right, fuck you. Fuck you, Charles. And it happened to be lethargy showed up. Like, he was too tired to finish Cody, who was also very tired himself. I think Jake is not going to have that issue. I think he's going to have two options: finish Cody early or wait till he gets tired and finish him late. So to me, I don't like Jake Hadley at this line, but I do like him inside the distance and potentially live betting. So I might just wait, not bet Jake, won't put him on any parlays, just in the sense that, say he gets taken down, he hurts his back, shit can happen. So I rather wait. If he finishes him early, I missed the line. It is what it is. I don't even think the line was ever good enough to get in the first place. But in this fight, it could be Cody or nothing, right? If you're not interested in like waiting to live bet, maybe taking a shot on Cody wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. He's plus money and he's very capable of winning this fight. But I do believe, though, that Jake will finish him in either really early or, again, really late, like late second, late third, or third round period. So I'm going to go with Jake inside the distance. I think either a submission. The guy is very talented, but his striking has been coming along. But I'll go, you know what? I think submission. I think Cody is more susceptible to a submission because with Cody, I think if he gets hurt, he's going to 100% like go for a takedown. And at that point, that's what's going to happen is that Jake's going to snatch up the neck. So I'll go with Jake inside the distance, submission round number 3. But very good fight. I'm very interested in this fight. This could be the fight that I'm more interested in watching than like most of the card. Next bout, we've got Billy Quarantillo versus Damon Jackson. Quarantillo minus 175. Come back on Jackson is plus 140. Another fight I might look at live, right? Because I like Billy to win this fight. I think he wins it. But there's a good chance that Damon, who I've grown to really respect over the years, good grappler, good at control, good at jiu-jitsu, kind of a weak chin. I think he can win at least a round here against Billy Q. So I do like Billy, again, to finish late. In this case, I actually think he gets a TKO in like the third round after Damon kind of gasses himself out trying to hold down Billy. Billy's not going to play that. Billy's just like, take me down. I'm going to keep throwing at you. And I don't think Damon's going to submit him. I just fear that he's going to control him for quite a bit of time. Because of that, live betting opportunity for me. I don't like Billy at minus 175 after, getting knocked out his last fight. And it kind of sucks. You go from Edson Barboza to, not to be a dick, but to Damon Jackson. It's like a big leap down. So it should be Billy to win, but still, Damon's got some pop in his punches, and you always want to be a bit careful. But I'll go with Billy Q, third round TKO, another live betting opportunity for me. Next bout, we've got Jeremiah Wells versus Carlston Harris. And this one, I think the line is loomed up for Jeremiah. Let me double check because it says minus 170, but I think in reality it's a lot closer. Minus 120 for Wells. Come back on. Harris is a plus 100, so even money on Harris. I think this could be a dog or pass because I think Harris is very good long straight punches. Jeremiah Wells hasn't been getting rocked, I guess, his last fight. Each guy can finish each other, and they're both very good at jiu-jitsu, very good at grappling. So it's a really tough fight. I do like Wells more personally. Like I like him. I like what he brings to the table. I like how explosive he is. I like how crazy his knockouts are. But I do worry that he can get clipped here. And I don't think the takedowns are going to be that easy because Carlston, he's a very dangerous guy, especially with his chokes, right? He's got the long arm, 76-inch reach, good anacondas, good Darce chokes. And again, the striking, I think, is going to be overlooked a bit by Harris. But what scares me the most is that Harris could be landing at will from far away, and then Jeremiah just closes his eyes and just goes berserk, lands a stupid punch. I mean, a stupid punch. Like, what is the stupidest punch I could throw? Like, throw something like that, all crooked and shit, and it just knocks Harris out completely cold, like coma cold. Betting wise, I might actually put some money on Harris, but I'm gonna go with Wells just because I like Wells. I like what he brings to the table. I like how like crazy, ridiculously nuts he gets in the cage. Like, who else does a Naruto run and trips over against a loser from New Zealand? So I'll go with Wells TKO. I'm gonna say round number 1. I think it's gonna be a good, interesting matchup. But yeah, I don't think this one goes the distance. Next bout, we've got Raoni Barcelos versus Kyler Phillips. Barcelos is plus 145. Phillips is minus 175. Phillips is coming off a PED suspension. This one's very interesting because I think Barcelos is live as hell, even though he just got knocked out by Nurmagomedov. It's a very good fight. It's very good. I like Kyler in the sense that like he will win rounds, right? I keep saying that. Like I do think he's going to be able to win a round. So maybe like a point spread type of bet might be good here, depending on which one's better. But what I worry about Kyler is that although he's like incredibly dangerous in the first 2 rounds, he does slow down. And if Barcelos has a injured, I don't want to say injured, but like a slow prey in front of him, I think he's going to have his way with Kyler. What's interesting is that both these guys and actually lost to, what the hell's his name? Henry. What's his name? Danny Henry? No, that's the other loser. Victor Henry. Both these guys lost to Victor Henry. So Victor has a win over both of these guys. I think he has a win over Kyler via split decision. And I always use that fight when I'm like referencing Victor Henry to show how good he is. Like, and Victor's very good, but I think as of late, to be honest, I think his age is showing up. But it's a very interesting bout between these two guys. What I find the most fascinating is the line. Why is Kyler Phillips so big? He's nearly at like minus 200. And I think because Ione is being overlooked, I think Ione might be a good bet here. If he doesn't get knocked out, he's not going to get submitted by Kyler. But if he doesn't get knocked out by something sneaky from Kyler, I think he's got a good chance to win this by a decision or possibly by knockout. I know Kyler's never been finished like that. It's just that like when you get that tired, a guy like Barcelos, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get that finish. So I'll go with Barcelos by I'll say decision. It's gonna be a good fight. Another great fight for this card. Next bout. Are we at the main card yet? Was that the main card opener? Yep. Main card opener, Ignacio Bahamondes versus Ludwig Klein. I don't like the line on Bahamondes. I'm going to pick Bahamondes to win, mainly because I think he's just a very superior striker. And although I do not like Bilal Muhammad, he is training with Bilal a lot. And what does Bilal do? He's probably trying to sniff his dick. So with that, I am assuming that his takedown defense is getting better. Like Ludovic is a very good fighter. And frankly, the only time Bahamondes had any trouble, obviously in the UFC, was in his debut against a shorter guy with, technical striking. I think that type of shit is out the window, right? I think Bahamondes has finally found his footing in the UFC. He is more grounded. I just think that he is a much more complete fighter at this point. He's going to be the bigger fighter, bigger guy, bigger, longer reach. 75 and a half compared to 72. Ludovic Klein, his last fight, he had trouble with the long man. And Bahamondes being a much better striker, in my opinion, than Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert's issue is that I think he's a phenomenal striker. It's just that because his chin is so suspect, he becomes kind of like a lesser version of himself as of late. Bahamondes isn't going to have that issue. He has that Chilean chin. I'll go with Bahamondes by a decision. I don't think he'll finish Ludovic Klein. I think he's going to have some very good moments against Ludovic. I think Ludovic is going to have some good moments as well, especially if he attacks the body of Bahamondes. He might even hurt Bahamondes at one point, but I think he's going to be strong. Tough enough, I should say, to withstand it and win this one by decision. So I'll go with Bahamondes' decision. Next bout, we've got Tanner Boser. I just find it funny that the Tapology picture is him with a belt versus Alexa Camur. Alexa's coming off of I think, how many years? 2-year layoff. So Alexa, he's 27 years old now. He's grown out a mustache. So because of that, I'm going to go with Alexa Camur by I think he can actually TKO Boser. So Boser dropped down from obviously heavyweight to light heavyweight. I blasted the line live for Kutalaba to beat Tanner Boser, and he made it look too easy. And I'm like, I've never seen Tanner Boser get beat like that. And I think that Alexa, despite the layoff, he's going to be the much faster guy. I think he's learned a lot, because my issue with Camur is that he would do what a lot of inexperienced fighters do, and he's 6-2, and that is he throws too much and he throws too many unnecessary strikes. Why waste a ton of energy on strikes that aren't going to land? He would throw a lot of kicks when they weren't necessary. I think if he keeps this grounded with boxing, because Boser's not really going to present anything that Alexa can't handle. And the fact that Alexa's plus money, I think I'm going to jump on that. Again, depending on how the Dodgers do tonight, I might jump on Alexa Camur. There's a risk that Camur can come in here and he can look like absolute slop, but he's still a very young man. And for me, 32 isn't old, but Tanner Boser at this point, he's not going to get any better. And I think Alexa Camur is still capable of getting better. I think if he wants to mix in takedowns, he will. The layoff itself will probably do nothing but good for Camur. I get why he is a underdog here, but realistically, I don't think he should. I think Tanner Boser dropping down to lightweight or light heavyweight, that is, is not the best thing for him. He's going to be too slow for these guys. We're in a division where he was a much faster guy. He's not going to have a whole ton of success. He might beat some dudes at light heavyweight, but they're giving him Alexa Camur, a guy who was very inexperienced, but I think Alexa can come in here and just outpoint him just using strikes. And again, I think if Camur puts a perfectly placed straight right hand followed by a left hook or something that Tanner Boser's just too slow to move out of the way, I think he can put him out of there. He can get him out of there for damn sure. So yeah, I'll go with Camur by second round TKO. You know what? No, I'll give Tanner Boser a ton of more credit. I'll go by decision. Okay. The return of Gavin Governor Tucker. He is plus 110. Comeback on Diego Lopes is minus 135. That's a damn lie. I know that because I was going to bet Diego Lopes at like minus 130, but he's like minus 170 now. So I was at the airport in Denver, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm almost done listening to my Norm Macdonald audiobook. There's something I forgot to do. And I'm like, what was it? And I'm like, oh shit, bet. So I checked the lines and I had missed the line. I nearly bet him at like minus 165. But when I tried, I really did. I might have gotten lucky here, but because I didn't have any cell phone service and the internet sucked, the bet didn't go through for Diego Lopes. So when I got off the plane, it was like I missed the line completely. Even at minus 160, where I was going to get him, was like that was just me being like, again, rushed. So I'm like, okay, probably for the best I didn't bet him. I like Lopes in this fight, and I'll tell you why. I think a lot of people might know. Like Gavin Tucker, I like Gavin a lot. I've liked him since he came into the UFC. He beat Sam Sicilia the fuck up in Canada. Everyone loved it. I'm like, this guy's got something special. And then he kind of showed himself as not being quite ready when Ricky Glenn beat the shit out of him. And then after that, he comes back after a layoff, has a very good run, and then Dan Ige one-shots him. I actually took Gavin to beat Ige, and I was like, oh shit, just one punch? And to me, I think Gavin, he's very good everywhere. It's just that chin is such a horrible liability, and he's 37 years old. The issue with Diego Lopes, the reason why I wanted to take him so badly was that despite the fact that, he came in on short notice and he looked great against Evloev, I think that the guy just has he's got 21 fights, or actually 27 fights and 21 wins, 6 losses. My issue with Lopes is that I just feel sometimes that he can be kind of an overachiever, and there's times where he's just not gonna perform as well. I think he overachieved in his last fight because he's a gamer, right? He's a great fighter for sure. I think his striking is coming along, and his jiu-jitsu is absolutely nasty. It's just that I don't know if I can really trust him at times to win decisions, because to me, he kind of seems like a finish or bust, which I love, by the way. That's kind of why I wanted to jump on him. So with Diego Lopes, I truly believe he is going to finish Gavin Tucker. I do. I 100% do. So I might actually just go with Diego Lopes, either TKO or inside the distance. The reason I believe that is because Gavin, again, he's 37 years old, and I don't know, man. Like, age does not help a chin, and the way that Diego Lopes throws punches, even a block punch, I think can rock Gavin Tucker. But Gavin Tucker's path to victory, he's just going to have to outpoint Diego Lopes, just throw more volume and such. But I do believe that Diego will catch him and finish him. It could be the first exchange. It could be the last exchange. That's stupid, right? Because the first exchange being the one that knocks him out would be essentially the last exchange. But whatever. It could be in the first round, or it can be the last minute of the last round. But I do think Diego's going to hurt him. And then if by any chance he doesn't knock him out with one shot, he will get on top of him. At that point, I think he can win minutes, maybe knock him out with ground and pound, or find a way to submit him and take his consciousness. But yeah, for Gavin, I understand if people take a shot on him. I just don't trust this guy. I think he's a fantastic glass cannon. And the way that Diego Lopes is throwing punches these days, like, hate to say this, but like Alexa Grasso and that loser girl who decides that she doesn't want to fight, They've been helping his striking a whole ton. They've been like a symbiotic relationship. Like, you help my jiu-jitsu, I'll help your striking. Like, say what you want about Aldana. Boxing's good. And, you help a guy like Diego Lopes get his striking on order. I think he's going to be able to catch Gavin with something. Gavin's very technical, but I think if Diego throws like an uppercut, I think he can. I think it's a wrap. I think any punch from Diego Lopes is probably going to hurt Gavin Tucker, which is why I'm so like nearly confident. And if it doesn't happen, it is what it is. I'll take the plus money with the inside the distance. So at this point, I think Diego Lopes, he's not bettable just for that reason. I don't think he should be like minus 170. But yeah, I'll go with Lopes. I'm going to say round number 1 knockout. I do like Lopes a lot. And I just hate his hair and I hate his tattoo. Next bout, another really good matchup, Dustin Jacoby versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. If you don't know already, I'm a big fan of Kennedy, like 100%. I think he not only is a great fighter in the sense that like he's always learning, he's very coachable, but as a human being, he seems like a great guy. But when it comes to this matchup, I think there's a good chance that Dustin Jacoby has a solid chance to beat Kennedy. It always depends on which Kennedy shows up to me, right? The odds have it in favor of Kennedy, minus 140. Come back on Jacoby is up plus 120. And Jacoby's he's a big guy himself, but he's fighting a giant in here in Kennedy and Nzechukwu. With Kennedy is that like he has so much potential. Like, I think he's got a really good chance to be top 10 one day. He's 31 years old. I think in maybe a year or two, if he keeps making the progression that I want to see, he will be top 10. He probably won't be champion, but he'll be top 10. The issue I have with him is that he allows himself sometimes to get bullied in the cage, and then he has bursts of energy where he finishes guys. Dustin's kind of a tough guy to finish, but I think Dustin at 35 years old, he's still a very good, competent striker, and I think if this is just a kickboxing matchup, he's going to run circles around Kennedy. I think he's going to kick the legs, just defend everything, because Kennedy can be a bit sloppy in there. And, if Kennedy mixes up his takedowns here, mixes everything up and he goes forward. Like, I don't like it when Kennedy leans back too much. He defends well. He keeps a high guard, but when he relies too heavily on that high guard, he likes to move back. And then I feel like that causes issues, right? The reason I'm going with Kennedy here is that he's not fighting a wrestler, right? I think if Jacoby starts landing leg kicks, something's going to snap in Kennedy in the second round, and he's just going to go for it. He's going to start like whipping the ass of Dustin Jacoby. He may not finish Dustin, that is, but I do think that he's going to officially start fighting in round number 2, which he tends to do. He's kind of a slow starter. So I do think I keep calling him Justin. Dustin's going to have a good first round. He's going to have some very good kicks, very good striking, keeping the distance, but eventually Kennedy is going to unlock that savage mode. And whether he finishes them or not, he will have more success later on. He will go for his own takedowns, use his massive height and also massive reach, and eventually win this fight by decision. And yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good fight. This will show us where Kennedy is at, where he's fighting a guy who, like, unlike his last fight with Clark, where he should have beaten him, and Clark had some good moments, here it's a lot closer. Dustin can win this fight. Betting Dustin would not be a horrible idea. It's just that when Dustin's winning the fight and in the third round, coach Saif Sayud is like, Kennedy, wake the fuck up. And Kennedy wakes the fuck up and he's like, he lands a flying go-go plot on Dustin Jacoby. You'll be like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, Kennedy is a surprising fellow. So I'll go with Kennedy by a decision on this one. All right, next bout, co-main event, Jessica Andrade versus Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana's going to be the favorite here, minus 500-ish. Come back on Jessica Andrade is plus 330, probably more than that. See, I like betting women's MMA underdogs, although the fact that she's probably going to lose, Tatiana's just going to go relentless with the takedowns and just kind of keep control, probably win this one by decision, if not by a submission or a TKO. Like, really, it is Tatiana's fight to prove how good she is and propel her to 10-0. Jessica Andrade, they're moving back down to strawweight. I didn't really realize that Tatiana was moving to strawweight. Like, I don't know if she's going to be able to make the weight because she's a big girl. Like, when she's with Patchy Mix, I'm like, damn, she's a huge bitch. So with Tatiana, like, I know she's, fucking Patchy, and Patchy's very good, So Patchy's teaching her all the tricks. The way she dangled off of De La Rosa was like kind of impressive. Like, I didn't expect that to happen. So you can see the confidence she has in her jujitsu, and De La Rosa's she's a black belt. So in this fight, like Jessica, she hits hard. She can stuff takedowns. She can have a lot of success here. She can land to the body. I think there's a good chance Jessica can batter Tatiana by, stuffing takedowns and then immediately hitting the body. Tatiana's not been overly impressive, but I think this is the fight where she has to show how good she is, right? She cannot have close fights. She cannot fail on takedowns. And if she does fail on takedowns, she's going to have to let the hands go. She can't just like be deterred by it. So I will pick Tatiana to win this one by a decision, but she is not bettable in this one. I think taking a shot on Jessica at those odds, let me see how high she is right now in the odds. I think she's dropping down. She's like plus 300. The best you can get her is like plus 310. So I think betting Andrade would probably be the better option. If you lose, you lose, as long as you know that you're in for a loss. But yeah, I do predict that Tatiana's going to win this one. I think she's going to show she's better than her last fight, because that last fight was like her shaking off that ring rust. She looked a bit rusty. And in this fight, I think she's going to know the feeling of the octagon again, and she's going to have a lot of success against Jessica. And if she doesn't, then we all cash out some money. So I'll go with Tatiana by decision. All right. Main event, catch weight for 140, Sandhagen versus Rob Font. It says minus 270. That's some bullshit. It's minus 350 for Sandhagen. Come back on Font is plus 285. I love me some Rob Font, like 100%. I think he is a great fighter. I think he's capable of winning this fight if he is safe. Just that really Sandhagen, I want to make a good case for Rob Font. Like, I'm not going to bet Sandhagen at this point. It's like, it ain't worth it to me. Maybe even betting him by decision. I think he's got a good chance. He's kind of got some pillow fists. And I think Rob Font's a tough guy, despite the fact that his face gets marked up a lot. I think he's a tough dude, right? And in this particular fight, he's got balls taking up Corey Sandhagen, essentially the number one, number two contender. I mean, literally, if some guy gets hurt, he's right in there for fighting for the title. I think Corey, I hate to say this, but I don't really like Corey. I don't know what it is about Corey Sandhagen. Got nothing really against him. I just have this, like, I don't like him. I don't know what it is. Like, he's a great fighter, but I don't like him. So I'm kind of rooting for Rob, but realistically, I think Corey has him beat. I think the footwork's going to be there. I think the striking matches well with Rob. I think Rob is the better boxer, but realistically, I think Corey's the better overall striker with the kicks. I think he's going to be able to mix takedowns. Rob Font, he's got some sneaky chokes. So if Corey goes in there, half-assed, there's a good chance he can get submitted. I just don't see that happening. I think the way he fought Cheeto was like, you son of a bitch, give us what we want. Give us Cheeto knocking you out. And he didn't give that to us. That's probably why I hate him. But I think Corey's very talented. I think he's making the right decisions here. He's making the right moves. He is evolving his game to become a champion, not to be a fun fighter, not to go out there and beat dudes' asses, which is what we want to see. But I think he's in this to be a champion, and it's really showing. And Rob Font, he's 36. At this point, it's going to really take a miracle for him to be champion. Is it going to take a miracle for him to beat Corey Sandhagen? I don't really think so. I think if Rob Font comes in here at his peak, I think he's got a really good chance here to win the decision against Corey. I think he can outpoint him. I think he can land his harder shots. I think he definitely hits harder than Corey, but Corey has a pretty decent chin. So I'm going to go with Corey by a decision. If anything, I might even take a chance on that line, the Corey decision line, because I think a lot of people are expecting Rob Font to go down easily. Like, oh, he's going to get knocked out in the first 3 rounds because of, what we've seen in the past. But he took that ass whooping like a man. I think he can take another one here. So I'll go with Corey Sandhagen by a decision. But I am rooting for Rob deep down. I do hope he wins this one. I know that would disrupt a lot of things here, but I am hoping that Rob ends up getting this win here. So I'm looking forward to this card. I'm looking forward to maybe placing some smart bets and parlays. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's Johnny from Tiger Bomb MMA. Next card. What is next card? Because I am hoping by next card I'll get my shit together. And it is it a pay-per-view? Where you at? Groovy Cat. It is. I forgot that Luque was fighting Dos Anjos. Yeah, Luque's been. There's been talks about his concussion. Let's take a quick, brief look at that. Cups. Okay, there's some money there. There's some fading opportunities there. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, I'll be back next week for Luque versus Dos Anjos. I'll have my shit together by then. Been a rough week, but yeah, Johnny Tiger Bomb MMA. I will see you next week.